I felt like this was a C plus pay-per-view.
You son
I
of a
felt
bitch said this show was a banger. There's no such thing as a C plus that's a banger, Midnight.
well, I
You
mean, like
take it back. You have disillusioned our audience into believing this show was good, and then you give it a
well,
fucking C plus.
I've had an hour to talk about it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Wrestling Is Now Shitty podcast. I am the man with the degree in wrestlingology, Dr. Legend, joined as always with my esteemed colleague, Midnight.
Welcome to the show, Bubba. Sit down, open your ears, and don't be jabroni like Hulk Hogan, or he put you in camel clutch.
How you doing, buddy? How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was all right. You know, it was all right. I ate some good food, but I'm happy to. Today was a good day. I mean, yesterday the Bears won on Black Friday, and today was Survivor Series. We had a great show tonight, so looking forward to the podcast to talk about all the four pretty decent matches we had.
Great, I hope is in quotes, because we are going to have clashing opinions, my friend. Yes, teams of five strive to survive. The Survivor Series just ended, and there is a lot to talk about, so we're not going to jump around here except for thanking all of our wonderful subscribers and everyone for tuning in, keeping us going. Guys, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, you want to be part of the show, get your questions read on air, please send us a message to winspodcastlive@gmail.com and we will gladly answer them on the air. But without further ado, let's turn on that Boomertron and get things going. Okay, guys, before we tuck into our main event for the evening, there's something we have to talk about. There's a clip currently running of one Jey Uso and Logan Paul attempting what looks like a backbreaker and failing miserably. And for some reason, this botch is the most polarizing botch in the history of the IWC. Now, we're going to let it run a couple more times to let it sink in, but it is clear without a shadow of a doubt whose fault it is, and I'm gonna let Midnight tuck into it first before we lay into you guys for having this really shitty opinion.
I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Jey Uso is nervous being in the single scene. His timing is off, and he's in control of this move 100%. All he has to do is wait for Logan to plant his feet, and they both spring off their legs at the same time to lift him up for that little side slam or whatever it was. I think the Truth Commission could do a better side slam than this guy. But yeah, he completely was trying to rush this move. I don't know what he was thinking. He's clearly just nervous. He's really just not ready for the big time. And Logan Paul, I don't like the guy, but we literally saw what he's capable of doing. He literally saved Rey Mysterio's life one time. And you see it right here. He
Yeah.
doesn't wait. He picks him up like cradling like a baby. Like, what the hell is he doing? Like, what move is he trying to do? First, it's like, it's a backbreaker. No, it's not. It's a pretty crappy backbreaker. Logan doesn't spring up. He tries to pick him up. There's just
Look at the look on Logan Paul's face.
he's
Literally saying, "What are you doing to me?"
it's like, what the hell is going on? And then he just kind of like, Logan has no clue what he's supposed to do and when he's doing, because remember, he's executing the move, he's leading the move. And look, he dumps him. He's lucky that he didn't dump Logan Paul on his head.
And so much for a backbreaker. His knee hits him in the stomach.
He decides to bail on the backbreaker at the last second, and then Logan Paul does a pretty good job of selling, basically being, dropped like a baby. He dropped him like a baby.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous, my friend. Like, this is just at his level, it's unacceptable. It really is. I mean, I understand there might be a minor miscommunication here and there, like maybe, someone was expecting a clothesline and didn't get it, but you've been in this business long enough. There's no excuse to be nervous. There's no excuse to rush it. And his timing is just completely off. And that's dangerous.
Anybody who doesn't see this was 100% Jey Uso's fault is fucking blind. This is a simple move, really, a backbreaker. It's one of the easiest you can do because you carry and cradle them in a body slam position. To get them there, you need your opponent to jump up and spring off their feet. Now, there are plenty of physically capable wrestlers of carrying and cradling somebody onto their chest without you having to spring up. Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, any of the other larger guys that can just basically manhandle you and do what they want with you. Jey Uso is not that. And I think you said it back in our, I think it was our Crown Jewel review when they had the tag match between the Usos versus the Bronze, where you said Jey does not know how to control his athleticism. This guy thinks he looks like a main eventer in his mind and tries to move like one, but executes it poorly. I don't know what is going through his head, but he needs to slow the fuck down because he's going to get someone hurt, including himself. I don't like seeing wrestlers being injured, and I don't like seeing wrestlers injuring other wrestlers. And in this case, I have no idea how anyone other than Jey Uso marks can see that it was nothing but Jey Uso's fault. Because clearly, we will rewind the footage over and over and over again. Logan Paul never plants both feet. He doesn't even get a chance to plant one.
He lifts his Logan Paul's right leg before he can plant and push off of his quads. Now this might seem like we're overreacting, but we're not. Remember, Big E's career ended over a belly to belly suplex that went awry because the person he was wrestling didn't allow him to plant his feet and spring. Okay. This is very dangerous. Okay. Logan Paul landed on the top of his shoulders. If he had tried to lift him up a little bit higher, he could have done like what Benoit did to Sabu and just kind of thrown him up and over and landed on his head. And now we've got a 27-year-old kid who's paralyzed because this guy can't seem to control himself.
I mean, yeah, let's just look at how some people are reacting. How on earth can people think Logan Paul is a good wrestler? Because he is.
Yeah,
I don't.
He actually is.
Yeah, it's now. I don't think is he a great superstar. That's under question. But wrestler, as far as in-ring talent, you can't deny the kid can move, and he does really well. He's very athletic.
He saved Rey Mysterio's ass.
Yeah. What was Logan even doing? Trying to save his life. Like,
and you're looking at someone who I love Jey Uso 1,000 times more than I like Logan Paul, but I'm gonna call balls and strikes here and say that Jey Uso just doesn't. This is Jey Uso's fault, and I, I don't have anything else to add. I mean, you said it best. The people that agree with us have said it best. He needs to go back to, I don't think he needs to go back to the performance center, but I think someone needs to calm him down. I think he needs a pep talk from someone that he trusts to calm him down and go, listen, slow down, get your stuff together. And we'll talk more about how he did actually slow down a little bit at Survivor Series. But this botch right here is just unacceptable.
Jay clearly needs to take a cue from every single wrestler in the late 80s and early 90s and develop a proper moveset for himself, something he can execute every day, time in and time out whenever he's in that ring. And Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, even fucking Diesel had 5 moves on his hand that he could do and execute very, very well, and they looked good. If this guy wants to try some new shit, he better have that shit practiced before he hurts somebody. And speaking of people being hurt, our Mr. Shoulder Injury is a little butthurt this week because he starts complaining about others complaining on social media. And to read this out loud, if you guys are just listening to the show, Seth Rollins made some comments on the opinions being shared on social media. And he says, the fact that everybody feels they need to have a fucking opinion about everything, that's the thing that I go, what are we doing here? You don't need to have an opinion. You can just say nothing. Or you can talk to your friend about how much you hated the last Marvel movie. You don't need to put that crap on social media. You don't need to. Nobody gives a shit about you and your opinion. They want to have control. They think they might. And their defense, these opinion junkies, we've given them a little liberty of saying, if you're strong enough opinion about it and it takes hold enough, we will change the course. And that happens from time to time. That's the beauty of this thing about our business, partially, is that you can pivot when things are wrong. A good example of this is the R-Truth situation, where R-Truth contract didn't get negotiated and got leaked online. He had been released. The fans went, what the? We love R-Truth. What are we doing here? We need R-Truth. Everybody loves R-Truth. And they got to the point where the executives said, you know what? They're right. We do need R-Truth. We were wrong. Seth Rollins contradicted his stupid fucking ass in his own quote.
This reminds me of the deposition of Michael Scott, where they're like, do you realize you just contradicted yourself? Yes, I did.
Okay, there's a lot to break down in here.
I want to hear what you have to say about this first, because this is your forte.
So people giving your thoughts and opinions on stuff on social media, that is what it was essentially designed for. Connecting with folks you normally wouldn't get the chance to connect and interact with. Let me pose a question to Mr. Seth Rollins. If he doesn't care about the thoughts and opinions of others, what the fuck does he do when he wants to go to a new restaurant or a hotel that he never, in a city he's never been in? Does he just go around and get there and ask the locals, excuse me, sir, is this restaurant pretty tasty? I would love to hear your opinion. Or does his bitch ass go to Yelp or Google reviews and, spoiler alert, reads the fucking opinions of everybody else that posts online? That's what happens. You can't be a hypocrite about this shit. If you are too butthurt to hear about the opinions of the shit that you do in the ring, and granted, Seth Rollins takes a lot of it. He's a very polarizing figure. He's a few of people's most favorite wrestler, but he's a lot of everyone's most hated wrestler. And there's a lot you could say about that. And guess what? That's an opinion you can have, and as far as I'm concerned, I want you to have that opinion, and I want you to share it, because here's the deal, guys. I work in marketing, okay? This is my bread and butter. We have tools. It's literally called listening tools that we go out, we scan posts on social media, we find out what are the most talked about conversations going on, what are people, what's trending, what are people feeling positive about, and what are they feeling negative about. And that helps us pass information to our decision holders, and from there they make decisions based on those opinions. And that's the exact thing going on here. If you guys took the opinion of just the people in the arena night in and night out, then Jey Uso would win every fucking match and the fucking product would be dead by Clash in Paris this year, because it would have been so fucking bad.
So I'm going to start with my devil's advocate opinion, because I understand where his frustration is coming from. And on the internet is a very dirty place, right? Like, it's just where the trolls come out to play and everyone's negative about everything and everyone feels like their opinion matters and they have an avenue to just post it. And then people that might agree end up snowballing it. So I get it, right?
The internet's a terrible place. It's so bad. Ultron was on it for 5 seconds and then thought humanity just had to go.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing about Seth Rollins, okay? Where did Seth Rollins get his big break, right? Ring of Honor. How did Ring of Honor get big? Ring of Honor got big because people got on the internet and started saying, have you heard about Ring of Honor? Check out their website. They're putting on great matches. They're doing local shows, but they're selling DVDs of their product on message boards, telling people, go buy the DVD. And guess who was on those DVDs? Mr. Seth Rollins. So people going on the internet saying how much they like something or don't like something is the reason why Seth Rollins, who's all but 5 feet 11 inches tall and like barely 200 pounds, was able to elevate himself in a business that was only promoting people that were 6'3" and above, 250, full of steroids like Heidenreich and Rob Conway. And that's how he was able to get into the wrestling business because of Ring of Honor, because people on the internet expressing their opinions. That's why he's over right now. He's only over right now because people are saying how much they like Seth. It bleeds into the audience. And now he's one of the most over guys on the planet. But yet he's mad about people expressing their opinions. Dude, we have crossed the Rubicon in terms of like trying to swelter people's opinions online. Like we've that you are living in like 2002 if you think you can shut this thing down. You can't. This is a runaway train.
Yeah, the only time people have opinions like this is when the majority of the opinions about you are bad, which
Yes.
sucks because he's probably reading all that negativity. It's making him mad. He's just telling like, guys, shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. And guess what, Seth? That's a fine opinion to have, and I'm glad you shared it on social media.
Yeah. Well, here's one last thing I'll close with is he says, or you can talk to your friend about how much you hated the latest Marvel movie. That's what we do on social media. What if it's a guy who lives in, Alaska and he doesn't have any friends that like wrestling and he wants to talk about wrestling? So he gets on Twitter or he gets on Discord or on Reddit and he wants to talk about wrestling with somebody and he's got friends on the message boards and that's who he interacts with. That's the great thing about the internet is that it can connect people who like wrestling. I've been able to talk to more people about wrestling since the internet came out because quite frankly, as much as I love this podcast, I don't know how much wrestling I can talk to you about in like every if I want to every single day if I want to talk about wrestling, I have to mix it up, right? I can't talk to you about wrestling every single day. I have to mix it up. And you know, uh, and I think he's just kind of lost that perspective.
Yeah, and I don't hate Seth Rollins. I don't. He's like I said, I called him Diet Triple H, and I'm not a Triple H fan because he his persona's like in a sense like Triple H, not necessarily the character, but the way he's portrayed as a character or whatever. Like just this ongoing nagging, can't get under your skin, not the best in the world, but just decent enough to survive. And at the end of the day, if you're here's my advice to Seth Rollins. If you don't want to hear people's opinions on social media, get off social media. Simple as that. Because your words are not going to stop it. In fact, you're going to get more people like us making fun of you for it. All right, on to our main event, Survivor Series Wargames from San Diego, California, Petco Park that we've actually been to and watched a baseball game from. Beautiful stadium, one of the cleanest baseball stadiums I've ever been to. It was a really nice place, and I didn't think at first I was like, oh, they're here. Oh wait, it's outdoors. Oh crap! And people were like, man, it'd be funny if it rained.
San Diego, bro.
Yeah, they have no idea the weather they're dealing with. It was probably a nice balmy 75 degrees in that ring and maybe a hint of a breeze. But here's something I want to bring up. Okay, we've been talking shit about this ESPN deal for weeks. Imagine paying 30 fucking dollars for 4 matches. Oh god, I get it. These are some big matches and a lot of marquee stuff on here, and they pad the fucking time with so many commercials, like almost 10 minutes of commercials in between every match. Something I never thought I'd see during a pay-per-view, let alone like WWE currently. And then you only get all these and it's still within the 2.5 hour time frame of a normal old school pay-per-view.
Well, then again, it is Survivor Series, so I mean, look at there isn't one like mid Carter on this in this pay-per-view, except for what Lash Legend, who's coming up. I mean, they literally put every single main eventer in this pay-per-view. So you kind of got your money's worth. And we're going to talk about why I felt like I got my money's worth for this pay-per-view, because see, once again, it's also on ESPN. It's not just on the streaming platform. So if you have
Don't sell this bullshit, ESPN. No wrestling fan.
but it's on cable though. It's also on cable, so they have to have commercials.
But if you're watching it streaming, they could have played something. Played the promo packages during that shit or whatever. Nobody in that arena, if you're gonna spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a ticket, needs to watch the promo package for a match they're about to see. They know why they're fucking there. They know exactly what they're gonna get. Let the folks at home watch the promo packages. I was watching the event with my wife, and she was watching some of the promos, and even then she was still confused. Like, why do these two guys hate each other again? What happened over here? Who's on whose team? And I was like trying to think to myself, like, she's asking some really smart questions from a non-wrestling fan, but these shows are designed for wrestling fans. So if that's the target market they're hitting, you know, my wife is not one of them. She likes wrestling, but she's not active in the wrestling community or watches a ton of it all the time. But yeah, let's break it down. Let's go by match and see how things went. So the first match was the women's War Games match, which pitted Team Becky, quote unquote, versus I don't know, who was the leader on the other team. Was it Team Charlotte?
I think it was Rhea, to be honest with you. I think she was probably because she's the one that ended up recruiting AJ.
Well, here's the funny thing, because when the match graphic won, because spoiler alert, it said Team Charlotte wins. But when the men's teams match, it just showed all their individual names. Like they didn't have, they weren't like a team or anything like that. And so my wife looked at it and goes, "How come the men get all their names, but the women are just under one team banner?" And she's like, "Do they charge by the letter?" So I admit this is the first War Games Survivor Series pay-per-view that I've ever sat through and watched the whole way. I've seen the old school War Games matches. I've seen like even the later ones in the mid to late 90s in WCW, and these were like super ultra violent, very dangerous type matches. And the War Games match here seems very, very safe. Almost to a fault, where like I didn't really think the cage or weapons were going to be a factor in any of the matches until the very end. I'm glad the ending one surprised me, but in the women's War Games match, I don't know. For me, I just thought it was really boring, because they were kind of just moving around, doing some minor low key spots until the very end. There were two big spots in this match, and that was it. And then the match ended, and it was like, okay, it's over. One thing I'm a big critic on, because I try to keep things in kayfabe when you're looking at matches, because guys, yes, we know it's fucking scripted, but like a movie script, if I was a script supervisor and I was going over the scenes and I was watching people do the dialogue and the blocking incorrectly, I would say, hold up, you're doing this wrong. To sell what you're going to do, you have to do it this way. I thought when their music played and they daintily came out and walked and let their music hit while their fucking partners are getting the shit kicked out of them in the ring. They're like, I gotta get my music, I gotta flow, I gotta roll in here. So everybody, like, you know, the two guys who didn't do that shit, Cody Rhodes didn't do it. God bless him. He was raised old school. He came out like a fucking bolt of lightning, like, oh shit, I gotta start some shit. But for the women, it was just like, it was a very going through the motions match for me, and I was not invested in it at all. I didn't really think of anything that was like dangerous. There was a lot of waiting for people to hit their moves. Like when AJ came in, she got on the top rope, and Asuka and Kairi kind of just looked at her, and they were waiting with their arms out like this, like for 4 seconds before AJ did her jump. And even my wife looked over and says, "Why were they waiting there so long?" And I just said, I don't know. I don't know.
What did you think about the finish?
I thought the EO trash can move was cool looking, but so dangerous. And at the end, that was more Why were they all waiting for her there? They could have all just spread out and moved. If it was a situation where, like, Io's teammates were beating them up, and then as soon as she jumped, they moved out of the way. So, like, oh, okay. And when she came crashing down, they had no time to get out of the way. But this was just like, here, guys, we're going to give you a cool spot to remember. It was more of a, like, Circus Soleil type of thing than a wrestling move. And as much as I appreciate the fucking danger of doing a god dang flip with a trash can on your head where you can't see anything, that was insane. And to try it and to land it and be okay. One of my favorite spots in this match, though, I don't know if you caught it, but Wade Barrett was just saying, like, Io Sky is probably pound for pound the best wrestler in the company right now. And right after she says it, he was going off the top rope for a move and fucking botched it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn. And he tried to cover her. Oh, she slipped, but she recovered. Oh, she's so great. She's so great. I was just like, you can't call somebody the best and let that happen. I don't know.
Dave
What do you
Mel-
think of the match?
Once again, I think I agree with you. I thought the match was just it was pretty basically produced. There was nothing about it that stuck out. It was just kind of a hey, let's get the baby faces over type of a match. And that's basically what they did. They got the baby faces over. AJ got her revenge on Becky. Um,
What
but
revenge? It was just like she's just there to piss her off. It was Becky's the one that should be getting her revenge.
well, AJ is like, she went after, AJ's husband, right? So, she remembers that. Women remember that kind of stuff. And I, they do.
He motorboated her husband.
But no, but yeah, once again, I didn't dislike the match, but it was just kind of meh. It's kind of nice to see everyone. I wanted to see a little bit more out of Lash Legend. I think that she should have asserted herself in the production of this match to kind of see all the women in this match have had their shining moments, and Lash was put in there for her to shine. And I just don't think that I don't think she took the opportunity that she needed.
I 100% agree with you, and because she was hyped up to be a beast. Like the weeks coming into this, she was battering everyone else on the other team, and I was like, "Who the fuck is she? She's awesome! Like she's really, really cool." And I was like, "Okay." And when she came in, she was just kind of like a trophy piece.
She looks so nervous though entering the ring. Like I think the crowd got to her because see, here's the thing. You get in the crowd that big. I mean, it's a baseball stadium plus another what 10,000 people on the well, maybe not 10,000, but definitely a few thousand people on the field. So I think it got to her. And two more young stars also were very nervous throughout this show, at least at the beginning. But Lash was the first one. She let the pressure get to her, and it sucks because I think she could be a star.
I think so too. I think she's got the look. She can move pretty well. That forearm she does, like that heart. I know it's a big no-no in Bret Hart's book because it's like a fucking chop where she's just smacking people in the chest. But as far as just looking devastating, yeah, it looks great, and that could be her thing. Like that would be kind of cool. They could turn her almost into almost a female Randy Orton, where she just puts people out like before matches.
Or a female Booker T almost, because she's got that same type of athleticism.
Yeah, I didn't know she was like a W. Like I was like looking her up as I was watching because I was like trying to get hype for her. And when she came in, I was just like, she's not doing anything. And then she got misted. I was like, oh shit, she's done. The match is over.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, I followed her in NXT, and I was like, man, she could be something because they were putting her over. But yeah, it's unfortunate that she didn't get the opportunity to assert herself a little bit more.
As far as matches are concerned, I was very nervous after this match because I was like, holy shit, this is like the War Games. Like, oh my God, please don't tell me it's going to be this bad throughout like, these are typically this bad. I was iffy on it, but moving on, the next match, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. And I was kind of hyped for this match only because I wanted to see how the crowd was going to react. And surprisingly, the crowd reacted favorably towards Cena and they were booing Dominic. There was a kind of a hint because Dominic is starting to get over as a heel. people are enjoying his antics and his schemes and the way he talks shit. I'm on board. I love this kid. He's keeping kayfabe alive, keeping me invested in the product outside of the ring because of how he acts. He doesn't like go on these podcasts. Not, oh yeah, my opponent's great to work with. He's like, oh, I have to wrestle that guy. Fuck that guy. I'm better than him. That's what I wanted. That's a heel. That's a fucking class act heel, which is hilarious to think about because his dad, aka his role model, is like has been a babyface for nearly his entire career. He's like the Jackie Chan of wrestling, where Jackie Chan's never played a villain in any of his films. So he didn't have anyone to go off of, and he's really come into his own on this role. He goes against John Cena, and the crowd just adores John. You know, this is his last PLE match, and I had no idea. He was like, this was his 100th PLE match, and he's just, I think he was tied, or Undertaker is the only one who's like close to him in that number. And I started doing the math in my head. I was like, oh shit, who has that many matches? And I counted, like, I was like, okay, let me do my boy Hulk Hogan. In his WWE career, the first stint of Hulkamania, how many PLEs do you think he's won versus John Cena?
PLEs that he's won?
Yeah,
maybe a dozen because they only had 4 a year.
You're close. 16.
Wow.
16 in his 8-year career in the company. And I know, John has the advantage of having working one a month or whatever. But I was like, God, that's a freaking lot. And remember, he's had times where he's been injured for multiple months and he's been out there. And then they count 100 wins, not 100 matches, 100 wins. So, like, he's probably had 150, maybe 200 matches on pay-per-views and PLEs. So I was looking at this, I was like, God, that's a freaking lot. And, but I have to say, right after the other match, it made me nervous. Watching this match, I was even more nervous. I said this on social media, and I'll utter it here. I thought it was a poor wrestling match, but a great story match. The in-ring stuff bored me to death. It was just kind of very formulaic. They went through the motions. There was no real drama between what they were doing, with the exception of the Hurricane Rana spot. Because I was like, when I saw that, I was like, he did the same shit that happened to Penta and took Penta out. And I'm like, is this real or is this fake? And then as they kept the camera on him, and I'm like, no, I'm going to bring this up later. Because when you keep the camera on the person, yeah, it's fake. Because you want that's what you want the audience to see. If somebody's injured, you take the camera off of them. Like, remember when we watched WrestleMania 22 with Ric Flair in the Money in the Bank match? Yeah. As soon as those X's came up, you didn't see Flair anymore. The cameras completely went off of him, and as they hauled him to the back. And I was like, oh, the camera's on him. This has got to be a work. And of course, Judgment Day came in. It was just a bunch of run-ins. But storyline wise, I loved it. It did what it needed to do. It got the belt off of Cena, put it back on Dom, didn't make Cena look weak when they're taking it off of him, and boosted Dominic's credibility once more. So I'm glad of the result. I just didn't like the way we got there.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you slightly. I thought this match was a banger. And I'll tell you why I thought this match was a banger.
Please do. I want to hear it.
Because there were some really great, this match wasn't what I would call a spot fest, but it was designed around several spots that made sense, that were classic, but also innovative. I mean, when John Cena got hit with the Tahana bomb, I popped. I was like, whoa. Like, they're really letting Roxanne and Raquel go after Cena with their finishers. That was fun. The double attitude adjustment was fun. The whole Dominic pulling a Eddie Guerrero by faking the injury was great. I mean, it was just a really great wrestling match. It was a really professional wrestling story match. They told a good story. The crowd was into it because the crowd cared about the people that were in it, and it was good. It was what I wanted to see. It was not as a main event. It should not have been the main event, but it was perfectly placed. Second match on the card, get the crowd going. Good match, damn good match. I would say 8 out of 10.
I have to disagree with you on one thing. One of the spots that made me cringe the most was when Roxanne and the other girl did their finishers on Cena, and Cena took it like his life was over. I am not a fan of female wrestlers coming in there and standing toe to toe with the men wrestlers, because if that's the case, why do we have split divisions? There's a reason
Okay,
why.
hold on a second here. Hold on a
No,
second here.
okay.
I'm gonna,
What? Tell
you're
me.
gonna sit here. You're gonna sit here and complain about people not selling, and then when John Cena sells something, a finisher from a fantastic athlete, now you don't want him to sell. Make up your mind.
I don't want him to take the move. He should have been like, look at this. When Becky Lynch slapped CM Punk during that promo spot that we bitched about, what did he do? Did he turn around, hold his face like he got slapped by Seth Rollins or Braun Breaker or anybody else? No, he took it because there was no power behind the slap. Because he just took it because he's a man and she's a woman, and that's how it is. Are you going to tell me you put Ronda Rousey in the ring with fucking Rampage Jackson, and Rampage isn't just going to beat the shit out of her? Just the one hit KO?
But if Rousey gets Rampage in an armbar, I guarantee you she could snap his arm.
No, I don't think so. No way.
She's a judo. She was a judo bronze medalist, bro.
But she's not physically stronger.
That is what jiu-jitsu and judo was made to overcome.
Roxanne Perez is half of John Cena's size. Look at that move again.
Hoist Gracie was 170 pounds in the first UFC and beat 3 guys that were over 200 pounds in real fights. Okay, it's a fun spot, though. It's a fun spot.
But it's silly. It breaks kayfabe, is what I'm saying.
But it's not kayfabe to have a female do their finisher on a man. We saw it with
if it was
with Punk and AJ versus Seth and
if
Becky.
It was China, where China's size was very similar to some of the male wrestlers, I was okay with that. But if you're going to tell me that Roxanne Perez doing a move that literally requires in kayfabe, you have the strength to flip over your opponent and then flip them over your head and slam them down, you're telling me she can be able to do that to John Cena's, whose biceps are bigger than her waist?
It's wrestling, man. It's wrestling.
It's bullshit. That's what that is. That was a bullshit spot, and you know it. And it was ridiculous. It looked stupid. And anyone who watches it and thinks it looked good, you are stupid too.
It was a banger of a match, man.
It was not a banger.
You know nothing about wrestling.
No, but at the end of the day, like I said, the end result was the result we all needed to happen. I think storyline wise, when Liv Morgan coming out, you know what? I got to give kudos to WWE. Since I've been out of the wrestling game for so long, at least over almost 15 years of watching it daily all the time. I'm so glad now when the Titantrons come out, they put the wrestler's name in big fucking letters, because I'm not used to knowing whose music it is. So when Liv Morgan's music hit, I'm like, who the fuck is coming out now? That's all the Judgment Day. And then I saw her name pop, oh shit, Liv Morgan's back. Okay.
I know Liv Morgan is back, and she came out and did another double turn. I mean, it was brilliant. This was Vince Russo stuff right here.
Was fantastic though. What she do? She kicked John Cena in the balls. That was great. That didn't break kayfabe at all. That was beautiful. They should take fucking notes. That's how you're supposed to. How can they go from that awesome spot to the 2 bullshit spots previously?
Dude, I was sold. She sold me when she turned on Dom. I was like, oh my goodness, Liv Morgan is going face. And nope, now Dom and Liv Morgan are the true power couple in WWE. This is great. It was a perfect finish, a perfect way for her to come back. It's just like I said, that's why the match was a banger. Everything worked.
That did not. Absolutely not. You are wrong, and you are entitled to your wrong opinion. But I will say, I was not when Liv Morgan hit Dom in the head. I was like, why the fuck did she hit him? Storyline wise, she just got injured. There's no reason for her to come back. Now, somebody online had said this, and I wish it kind of happened, where if they did something like Roxanne had come back and Dominic was hugging her and it looked inappropriate, and then Liv Morgan's music hit. Or the weeks leading up to what was going on, he was hanging out with Roxanne Perez and all them, and just being alone together and talking like that. Do you miss Liv? Yada, yada, yada. And sold it that way. If they had done that build up, I would have bought it more. because the idea is she came back like, hey, I've been watching every week. What the fuck you doing? And then slapped him. Okay. But the slap came out of nowhere. It didn't make sense. And I was like, oh, she's hugging. She jumped on John Cena and gave him a hug. And then the look in her eyes, she gave him the fucking crazy eyes. Where is that? Where's the fucking crazy eyes?
Dude, that was the acting job of the entire match. Like, look at the look on her face.
Look at that.
Whoa. That is like evil. Any man that has dated more than like 10 women has seen that look on a woman's face at least once. It is a legit evil woman face. Like, I was like, once I saw that look, I was like, yes, she's back.
To quote famed Hollywood producer John Peters, "You see the look on her eyes? She has the look of a violent caged animal, of a fucking killer."
Dude, it was brilliant.
I saw that and I was like, oh shit, that was good. That was like, again, story wise, it was a banger. Great moment every day. Execution left a lot to be desired. I give the overall match, if I was doing grade wise, I give it a C. I think it was fine. The problem was I was very spoiled by their match on Raw. I love their match on Raw. It was a great, fun match. Did a lot of cool stuff. And when you blow your wad on one match like that, and this is a classic Vince McMahon thing to do, like, oh shit, that match was a banger you guys had. We're going to do that match for the next 3 months, including right again on Raw. Vince, what, we gave you everything. Like, could you imagine how fucking diluted the Stone Cold Bret Hart feud would have been if Stone Cold and Bret wrestled on Raw right after the WrestleMania match and then continued wrestling each other for weeks on end?
Vince would run this match back in some way, shape, or form tomorrow night or Monday night on Raw if Vince was still in charge.
Yeah,
he would run it again. He would
run
it back.
And next up, surprisingly, the piss break match, because there's only 4 matches on this card. Stephanie Vaquer defends her title against Nikki Bella. And by the way, guys, if you guys watched our show last week, we are 4 for 4 for calling this pay-per-view, by the way. And I had said it before with Nikki Bella Vaquer situation. Anyone thought Nikki was going to go over in this situation unless, like, for some reason people are saying her sister might come back or whatever. But either way, like, Nikki is not here to have a run with the title. She's here as an enhancement talent to help bring people up. Yeah,
this was a marquee matchup to get Stephanie Vaquer over, and it didn't work because, see, Vaquer, did you see her come out? She looked spooked. She was like, oh my God, like she was so just stale. Maybe that's her character, I guess. But all I know is I saw the look in her eyes. It was the same look I saw on Lash Legend's face. She was totally nervous for this match. It's her first big, pay-per-view title defense, I guess, or in a big stadium at least. And she's going to have to get used to that because she's going to do it again in Royal Rumble and probably again at WrestleMania. So she needs to get over it because the match she put on with Bella was garbage. I didn't expect a lot. The fans didn't expect a lot because the feud wasn't that hot, but the match wasn't that good.
It was kind of a weird match. Like it felt more like a TV match.
Yes.
And one of the things that bothered me that you bring up, I have never seen a champion that looked so out of place.
Yes.
Like I think the mystique of her was completely washed away when you put the belt on her too soon. You didn't give her any build. You put her on here. It's like, okay, when you're the champion, people perceive you as absolute best, star of the company, face of the company. Everyone wants to follow. And when her music hit, she got the initial half-second pop of her music because she's the face. And then it was fucking crickets. It was so quiet. I could hear almost the crackling of the speakers. And again, I always comment this on matches, like when the crowds are not into it, you can hear them breathing during the matches. I could almost hear their breaths, every breath they take during this match because it was just crickets. And like again, she's now become 2 fucking spots, which is a damn shame because she's a talent. She moves very well. She's very talented in the ring. The problem is, how are you going to support a character when there is none? There's nothing to back Stephanie Vaquer now. She's not a fighting champion. She's not an underdog. She's just, she's good. She's a good wrestler, guys. And she's the champion. Okay, what about the devil horns? Well, those are ram horns. Okay, well, what's that
or
all
goat
about?
horns or what.
Like, well, what's it about? Why she come out to that music? Why she have the gothic font for her name? We're not going to lean into that. We haven't even come up with it.
Yes,
We're not going to come up with a name for that fucking move she does. Like, literally, how many weeks has it been and they can't market that move because they don't know how to market her character?
she
It's a
has no
fucking shame.
presence. You know,
Oh,
she yeah,
that's it.
go ahead.
No presence,
Just no
no
presence.
aura.
Yes, no, or it was just so lame, and she looks so nervous and out of place, and she's not the last star tonight that looked nervous, but they did a good job in the ring, and so I'll get to that one when we get to the last match.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought this was a stinker, and from
It is a D plus match. It would have been great as like the mid match on Raw, I guess, or maybe a Raw main event for a crappy show.
and I'll give Nikki credit. She carried all the heavy lifting on the build for this because Steph
Yeah.
can't cut a promo to save her life, which it's not entirely her fault. But again, I know, was Cornette the one banging on about this? People to learn English so you can cut a fucking promo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? Either you got to learn English or you have to be so beloved and charismatic in the ring that people don't care that you speak English, like the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky. They are so charisma flooded that anything they do, people want to follow, and you just care about them because of the way they act in the ring, how they present themselves. Steph just presents herself as this badass, but not a whole badass, and she doesn't say anything. She just, it's like a neutered Goldberg in a sense, but she's not dominant like Goldberg. Like it's so weird. It's like throwing dogs. Like, what is Stephanie Vakir? Like, if you try to, and there's so many marks online that defend her, saying she's the best. It's like arguing with children.
But
Like,
Goldberg he breathed, the smoke from the fireworks, and he had like when he did stuff in the ring, he was like intense, right? Like
I
they need to find her true personality. What they need to do, and this is what Paul Heyman would do, he would piss the talent off, or he would get in the talent's head and find their weakness, find their vulnerabilities, find what was really inside of them and bring that out in their character. So I think Paul Heyman needs to sit down and like hang out with her for a couple of weeks and just figure out what's inside this girl's head and bring it out in her character.
yeah, they're gonna need to do something quick because she's just gonna fucking she can't sell matches if she can't sell herself. You're gonna end up getting bored with her. The IWC is already mixed on her, which I'm shocked. Some people love her and they look at her like, who the hell cares about her right now? Which, by the way, go back and check the tapes. We told you all this shit was gonna happen if you put the belt on her too soon. But storyline
Yep.
wise, like, what were they couldn't really put it on EO. EO's doing another program right now, which is also shit when the other women doing a program is hotter than your fucking champion. Like,
Yep.
ugh, it's terrible. Okay, I don't want to digress on this anymore because I want to talk about something fun, like our main event for the evening and the match you paid your money for, as the Vision plus Drew McIntyre takes on every awesome guy that wrestling has, and Jay and Jimmy Uso.
I gotta say, man, this was the best match of the night. This was
Hands
perfectly.
down, you can't compare it.
I mean, it was perfectly produced. They put the right guys in at the right times. They bring Breaker out first, and this is the guy I was talking about.
Yeah.
Breaker
Ooh.
comes out, and he looked nervous, man. He really looked nervous, but they did it the right way. They put him in with Punk first, and Punk took care of him. Punk knew how to work with Breaker. He kind of kept his distance to stay away from his power, but did stuff to get Breaker to counter his jumping off the top rope and suplexing him over his head. Um, and then they bring in Drew McIntyre next. I mean, it's just the order in which everyone came in, and then you had Lesnar come in last for the Vision, and then Roman Reigns comes out and starts battling Lesnar, and Lesnar F5s him through the table. I mean, this was, and then Cody comes out to save Punk, and Cody has to climb the fence and jumps from the top of the fence onto Drew. I mean, this was just great. They took the biggest stars the company had, they put them in, and they said, wrestle your asses off. And that's what they did.
This was booked so well. I thought I had a lot of fun. when you say Braun looked nervous, I'll tell you who looked more nervous than Braun. It was me when he took that fucking doomsday device and landed on his neck. And remember, rewind the tape when I said earlier, as soon as he took that bump, the cameras went off of him. They focused on everyone else, and they weren't doing jack shit because they didn't know what to do, because they're like, did Braun fuck himself up? And I was like, my wife asked me, oh my God, who messed him up? I was like, God, it's probably a combination, because the doomsday device, you have to plan how you're going to take that move. There's two ways to take that move. Either the guy hoisting you on his shoulders throws your legs up, you do a flip, and you land on your face, or the guy who's holding you flapjacks back and you land flat on your back. It's the most of the responsibility lies upon the guy holding you. However, unless you try to flip the script and take a backflip when he was trying to land you flat. And I think that's what kind of happened. Cody, if you looked at his legs, was holding him and was trying to keep his legs set. But I think because Braun had seen the move done so many times, that, oh shit, I have to flip, and tried to flip and ended up landing on his neck. And when he bounced, I said, oh my God, he just fucked up WrestleMania. Like, I'm like, I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. And thank God he was all right. He came back. He was a beast. Probably at worst, God help me, he may have concussed himself. At best, he probably just got a little shock from landing that way. But remember, he's a beast. He's got huge neck. He's got big, broad shoulders. He could probably take that move, but it was nervous for a few minutes after that spot. I remember another funny moment in that match, because I was selling my wife on how much of a badass Brock Lesnar is. And when his music hit, she goes, oh no, is everyone else screwed? And I'm like, yeah, who could beat him? And she looks at me and goes, Roman will beat him. And then when she saw the Superman punches, she goes, oh, she's doing it. She's doing it. I said, just wait. And then he F5s him. And I look at her, and she looks at me and she goes, damn it.
But yeah, I forgot to mention, man, Brock Lesnar comes in there and just cleans house, man. I mean, it's just like,
that's what this guy is designed to do. This is your beast of a heel.
Yeah, exactly. It was perfect. Everything about this match was wrestling. This is wrestling. You want to book a tag team match with your biggest stars, this is the match you watch.
I thought Logan Paul looked good. I liked did you see the spot with him taking the brass knuckles from Paul? He goes, well, thank you, wise man. I was like, finally, he's getting some character in him. He's starting to talk like a wrestler. Okay. And then him using the nut. I will say, though, I wish Punk got hit with the knuckles again, because he sold those knuckles so well. Like everyone else who got hit with them. And then the same thing with what I find odd. Like, look, these are brass knuckles. Like, you guys got to really sell it. And then Roman hits fucking Drew McIntyre with the Superman punch with the knuckles on, and Drew bounces up and rolls on, almost like selling it like the knuckles weren't there. And I was kind of like, oh, come on, Drew, you're better than that. You know how to sell this move properly. It's so weird, because it's been so long watching a War Games match, them focusing in on certain things and certain aspects while watching people lay on the ground, almost the Royal Rumble style. Like, I feel like it was almost better booked in some ways. Not saying this was a badly booked match, but from a perspective sense, like when the cameras has to focus on one set of guys and you're seeing guys just laying around the ring. If you watch old matches, everybody's doing something. Everybody's working. Everybody's got a program in the corner. They're doing a little something with somebody else, and they're working. In here, I know it's different. They're doing high spots. You can't have people just standing up all the time taking moves. You want to pop the crowd or whatever. I just felt like it needed a little bit more than that. Like, I would have loved to see the ending, like when the final pin happened and someone was trying to go to break it up and their foot gets caught and they like barely skate by and they don't get they make the, like, I would have loved to see an ending like that. But overall, I thought the ending was fine. Now, speaking of the ending, if you recall some episodes ago, Midnight has thrown the claim out there that Seth Rollins was faking his injury as a mysterious man in black showed up and delivered a surprisingly familiar moveset that cost CM Punk and his team the match. I
How do
Okay,
you say to someone you love, "I told you so"?
that was not Seth Rollins. Okay,
It was
you
Austin
know it.
Theory,
I'm
according to
not.
some people.
Oh Jesus. Okay, so when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I know that's not Seth Rollins. I know it for a fact it's not Seth. The guy scampered up the ring. He was like really quick, and in my mind, the first thing I thought of is, wait, is this fucking Jericho? I'm like, nope, he got up there too quick. No way,
Yeah.
can't be Jericho. Because in the promos to the matchup, remember the build to this, they were showing lines of code during the match. I'm like, what the fuck does lines of code mean? I'm like, oh shit, is Jericho coming out? Because he was not like, oh, he wouldn't be the first surprise entrance of the night. And people they had mentioned on the show, hyping it up, a lot of big stars made their first appearance at a Survivor Series, like Undertaker and a few other big names, Rocky
Roll the tape.
Maivia.
Let's see. Let's see if it is Jericho. Roll the tape.
Okay, let's take a look here. Whatever, but again, I wasn't
Yeah,
like
Jericho's too old to
I
get
wasn't
up there
100%
like
set on it, but I know it's not Seth Rollins for a fact. Because, and I'll break this down, not physical, storyline wise.
Yeah,
Okay,
storylines it'll be Seth, but
yeah, storyline wise, why would, even though Seth hates CM Punk, why would he help the Vision after what they did to him? He doesn't
then
hate Punk
again,
as much as what the Vision just did to him. That's where the story is.
but maybe the person that it is wants him to think it is Seth.
That's the story that they're doing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely what they're doing. They're trying to bring this in. I think we're gonna get a situation where it's gonna maybe turn Seth face, where he tries to team up with CM Punk or whatever, and have this whole dynamic of frenemies going against the greater evil, which will be the Vision or the New Vision or whatever. But as far as I can tell, I don't know anyone in the roster I could pinpoint this to being. As far as just the Man in Black, storyline wise, this is wrestling, guys. Okay, there are a lot of times they pull this dumb bullshit where you get you hyped up, and then they just drop it in the gutter with some piss poor reveal. Okay,
Yeah.
let's not forget that at one point during the Attitude Era, it was conceived that the higher power was going to be some jabroni named Christopher Daniels. Which essentially was what got Vince Russo fired from WWE because of that dumb storyline.
Well, Vince Russo didn't get fired from WWE.
He might as well have been.
Well, but the one thing I will say, one, I'm 4 for 4 in my predictions, especially my predictions that the ending of this matchup would set up the Royal Rumble main event. And with Breaker pinning CM Punk, we have our main event for the Royal Rumble. Breaker and Punk at the Rumble. Book it.
There was that moment too where remember Cody elbowed Punk in the face during the match, which I like it storyline wise, but it really makes Cody look stupid because he is a seasoned wrestler and he just took out the only other two heels in the ring. So if someone was going to come up behind him and startle him, it wouldn't have been another wrestler that he was going up against. So for him to elbow him in the face feels like a rookie mistake. I wish they leaned into that more. They kind of talk about it at the end of the match when Cody, Roman, and Punk are all in the ring together, kind of just going over like a debrief, like, oh man, we got fucked up. But at the end of the day, I do think that could be a match. I honestly though, I don't see them putting the title on Braun in that match.
No,
Can't see it yet.
it's too early.
Yeah. There's gonna be, if anything, that Man in Black is gonna mess something up. I think it'd be funnier if he did come in there and then do the curb stomp to Braun during that match and help Punk to really throw a wrench into the fucking machine right there to get you all fucked up. That I don't want to get too hyped for this because, again, this is WWE we're talking about. It's been a long time where they've executed something with a proper build that I've been excited about, and I don't want to get overhyped. So I'm taking it with bated breath. If I were to say right now, I don't know, could you say right now, flat out prediction the guy in black is, or you just going to leave it up for speculation?
I'm going to leave it up for speculation. I want to see what's going to happen on Raw. But I want to comment on what you said about Cody elbowing Punk. I think that the old school guy holds him and hits him with a chair, but the guy moves away and hits him and gets mad at him. That's been done before. This was like, hey, Punk just kind of came up from behind him and then Cody elbows him. And
But
it's a
he's
little bit
staring at the
more.
two guys he just beat up. The only other two
Well,
guys in the match.
but there's three other guys in the match that he's got to worry about. So I felt like that's better than that because it's a little bit more. It's more believable for Punk that Cody may have done it on purpose than rather than he knows Cody's trying to hit the guy and Punk's right there holding him and the guy slips away. He's like, okay, any smart seasoned wrestler would know that he wasn't trying to get hit. This was a little bit different. They just tried something different. So I'm gonna defend it.
Yeah, well, you know what? They could have done it a little bit better. All they would have had to do was make it look like Cody wasn't trying to hit Punk. Like he was just turning around too fast. Like he pulls over, like he had his hands raised, like this, like ah, and he turns around and boom, like that, because his hands are still in the air. And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Why'd you hit me? I didn't mean to hit you. Why'd you come up with my hands? And why did you punch my ass? Why did you run your fist? Why'd you run your ass into my fist?" Kind of deal. Like same shit. But either way, it's going to be a very, very interesting episode of Raw tomorrow night. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, overall, pay-per-view wise, if I were to give it a grade, I'd give it probably a C minus, maybe just a D plus, because there was one good match on this card, the only match worth seeing. Everything else to the pits. You don't need to watch it. Just read the results of it online. But if you're like, the War Games match was the match you could sit through, watch it all the way through, and have a good time. What do you think?
I felt like this was a C plus pay per view.
You son of a bitch said this show was a banger. There's no such thing as a C plus. That's a banger. Midnight.
Well,
You take it back. You have disillusioned our audience into believing this show was good, and then you give it a fucking C plus.
I've had an hour to talk about it. Think about it, okay? Hey, I'm not stubborn enough, but like, okay. I can't ever be right with you, right? I don't even know why I talk to you anymore.
Guys, it's a banger. C plus.
There was the men's main event match really got me, but also the Cena matches like the Liv Morgan comeback and the spots really got me excited. But the other two matches were kind of meh. So I'm like, well, I wish we had more out of those matches, considering it was a 4 match PLE. But I think if you just watched the Cena match and just watched the men's War Games match and like had dinner or had a drink for the women's matches, I think that you would have had a really great time.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a show with 4 matches on the card, those better be the 4 best matches you can produce. Because every one you take away that's not great just brings the pay-per-view down as a whole.
Yeah.
But that's all the time we have left for our show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was an absolute blast. Looking forward to talking shit more next week, and hopefully Jey Uso keeps stumbling along and gives us some more fun stuff to talk about. But until then, I am Dr. Legend signing off with Midnight. So long, and we'll see you next week.